So you've never made a budget, huh? Well, today we end that, because I'm going to show you exactly how using an app called Mint. Let's get started. Hello there, I'm Caleb. If this is your first time here and you want to learn how to improve your finances, master your budget, and save for the future, get started now by hitting the subscribe button so you won't miss out on anything. So this is actually the third video in a series of videos that I'm doing about making your first budget ever using some sort of app on your phone. So the first video that I did was using the app called EveryDollar, and the second one was using YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. You can see the first one up here, and you can see the second one right here. But the nice thing about these apps is that it actually makes it pretty easy to set up your first budget. And really, that's all you have to do. You just have to start, because once you start, it gets easier. It really does. So without further ado, let's get into it. One of the cool things about Mint is that it's made by Intuit, which is the same company that makes TurboTax and Quickbooks. So if you have an account with TurboTax, then you can just sign into that account. You can use that same account for all of your financial things. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna connect an account, okay? No peeking. So after we've added an account, we're gonna be able to see net worth and spending up here. So let's start by hitting this plus and then saying create budget. So one thing that we talked about in the last couple of videos about making your first budget ever is that according to the Census Bureau, the median household income in America is about $68,000. So we're going to use $66,000 so it splits it up a little bit more evenly across the 12 months. Let's go here to add income. Okay, so let's assume that after taxes and everything has been taken out of our $66,000 that we mentioned earlier, that we're left with $4,100 per month. So for our paycheck, we'll just say it's one paycheck of $4,100. Double tap here. Okay, it also has other areas that you can add in for like bonuses, interest, which is nice because if you get a bonus, you can just throw it in pretty easily, and you can also add subcategories if you want to. We'll just cancel out of this right now. So we're showing our income right here. If we go back, we can add an expense budget. So then we can go through here and we can change each category to what we think it'll probably be for that month. For auto insurance, I put down $100. Now, let's add another category. For gas, I think a pretty reasonable amount is probably $200. Bailey and I go through more than this, especially before Rona, because I was driving 45 minutes to work. Now it's gonna be an hour to work when I go back to work in about 2 weeks. For service and parts, I'm just gonna put that down basically as maintenance. For this example, I put it in as $50. For internet, we'll say $100, which is automatic. Normally I have my utilities broken up a little bit more than they have here, so I'm gonna add in a new subcategory for electricity. We'll add in water, natural gas, and trash. For electricity, I'm gonna put in $90 per month, which is probably a little low for a lot of people, especially during the summer. But hey, our electricity bill was $70 this past month. So for natural gas, we'll put $80. For trash, we'll put $20. And for water, we'll put $30. And for phone, we'll put $100. So the next category under that is business services. It takes this into account because this is my business account with TurboTax and QuickBooks. So we'll just skip that for right now. Education, we'll come back to that. The nice thing about this is that they have a ton of categories. So it helps you remember the things that actually need to go into your budget as you're creating your first one. Within entertainment, I just have a general entertainment category. We'll add that. Oh, it doesn't like that. We'll just put that under amusement. I'm going to throw that at $30, which is pretty low, especially now that the world is opening back up. But you'll see why later. Let's go down to health and fitness. Let's say you've got $25 per month in pharmacy. Now it might not be enough for like prescriptions or something, but maybe you're like a multivitamin kind of person. Really, the thing to remember through this video is that these numbers aren't going to be perfect. You're probably going to say that this is unreasonable, especially if you live anywhere like New York or San Francisco. But math is math, so the principles of creating your first budget are the same regardless of if you live in Central Ohio or if you live in San Francisco. I'm gonna put in $50 for gym. These are all the same numbers that I used for the last 2 videos, so that's why I'm skipping some categories. Obviously, your categories might be drastically different than what these are, and your amounts. Now, this is one of the big ones, in my opinion, is charity. So what I'm gonna encourage you to do is to give 10% of your earnings away, because generosity is something that we want to be practicing and exercising. Aside from the religious aspects, if you are religious, generous people are just more pleasant to be around, in my opinion. Bailey and I are actually Christians, so we adhere to the tithe, which is 10% of your income. A lot of people do 10% of their net income. A lot of people do 10% of gross. For this sake, we're just going to use 10% of the net income, just because we know that our income is $4,100, so we're just going to put it at $410. It's really up to you personally whether you want to go the gross or the net direction in terms of the percentage that you give for charity. For groceries, I'm going to put $400 in our budget. For restaurants, we're going to keep it pretty low and say $50 per month. I've done this in every other video, so I feel like I have to remain consistent, but we're gonna add a subcategory for chocolate milk because it's very important. You can get protein from it, you can get carbohydrates. I know a lot of people aren't into that kind of thing. Dairy. Really, I don't have to justify it. It's just delicious, so sue me. Now I have to go down here to chocolate milk and add that in here. $100. Though it's tempting, we'll just put in $25 per month for chocolate milk. In entertainment, we're gonna add in a category for subscriptions. That might be a newspaper subscription, or it might just be streaming services, but we'll put in $20 per month for that. I know $20 isn't enough for Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and all the other streaming services. Well, that's the beauty of the budget. You can decide how much you want to put into each category as long as it all balances out in the math. In miscellaneous, we're just gonna put miscellaneous because it always happens that we have extra purchases that we have to throw in there. For this, we're gonna put $50 per month. So we go down here to shopping and let's put in $30 for clothes. And tell you what, under miscellaneous, let's put fun money, because this is one of my favorites. Bailey and I have a fun money account because it makes it a lot easier to budget our money out and stay consistent with our spending if we have a designated amount of money to spend per month just on whatever we want. If you want to check that video out, click this link up here. In this case, we're gonna put $50. Bailey and I have a dog, and we actually have chickens too. So under pets, we'll put down $15 per month. It's actually a little low for what we spend on them, but that's my numbers. For health insurance, I'm actually gonna put down $500 per month. I know a lot of people have their health insurance taken out straight from their paycheck. That's what mine is like too, but I know a lot of people have to purchase out in the open market. And so we're gonna put down $500 because I think that that's fairly reasonable for health insurance per month for a couple. I don't know. Now I just looked through all these categories and it's not here, so we're actually gonna add in health and fitness, life insurance, which I understand is a little ironic given that the only time that you use life insurance is when your health has ultimately declined. And apparently it doesn't like the irony of that, so maybe we have to add that to a different category. We'll throw that in miscellaneous. Gah, it doesn't like that. Alright, well in that case, tell you what, we'll change out our life insurance for dentist. We'll say $20 per month. Now I almost forgot that we need to put in our mortgage payment, which according to Google the average is about $1,000 for a mortgage payment across the United States. So that's what we're gonna use. And we're gonna leave home insurance off of here because home insurance for a lot of people is paid directly through their mortgage payment per month. So we're just gonna assume that that's what happens. And now the fun part, debt. From my research, I found that the average credit card payment in America is about $125, so that's what we'll use. And the average car payment is about $570 per month. So now we're gonna go back to auto payment. We'll add that in. Okay, so it looks like we budgeted a little bit too much here because we are showing that we have $4,140 budgeted when we know that we only made $4,000. So we gotta go find somewhere to cut a little bit on the expenses. Just to make this a little bit easier, we'll just change our health insurance to $460. Okay, now we're showing that we have $4,100 budgeted in terms of expenses. Now really quick, we gotta stop and thank our sponsor, air conditioning. Recently it's been really warm. Our house doesn't have very good ventilation upstairs. So before I planned to make this video, I set up a portable air conditioner in the office where I'm filming and just started it running, trying to cool this place down. I started filming, I had to turn it off, and it's just been getting progressively warmer up here. So thank you to air conditioning for keeping us cool when I'm not filming. So the cool thing is, since we added our bank account, we can go into any income that shows up within our app. Say when you get paid on payday. And then you can go into that income and change the category to, say, paycheck, which is the category we use to budget our income. So if we change that to paycheck, we can now go to our budget and it shows that our income, we have $1,019 gained so far. Now this is purely an example because this is something that I got paid for recently. But as we add our income, it's going to continue to show that we're getting closer and closer to our $4,100 that we budgeted. Now if we go back to our expenses, as we go through the month, things are going to get pulled out for, say, fuel. We can add a transaction for that. So maybe we spent $25 on fuel. We're gonna add that to our category of gas and fuel. We're gonna add tags and notes, and then click done. And that'll show up in our budget. Then when we go back, it'll show us a progression bar showing that we've spent $25 of our $200 and we have $175 left, which is really helpful because when you're budgeting, you're not just tracking expenses, you're following along as the month progresses so that you know exactly how much you have left in something. Because the thing is, we don't want to just track our expenses, because if we only track our expenses, that doesn't necessarily change how we're spending the money. At least now I know I have $175 left, and maybe we need to be a little bit more careful about our driving habits for the rest of the month if 175 is going to be a little bit tight. But the beauty of a budget is that you can shift your numbers around, because a budget isn't meant to be perfectly strict. So you can't eat if you don't have money left in your grocery budget. But as time progresses and you get more used to having a budget, then you can make changes to your budget so that it makes sense for you. Same thing with other categories. Say natural gas, maybe you get charged $60 this month for it. There we go. And now it shows that we've spent 60 of our $80. Well, that means that we can take that extra $20 that we didn't spend this month on natural gas, we can put it towards something else if we need to. And then at the very top, it's gonna show exactly how much money that we've spent so far, $85 this month of our $4,100. And it also gives us how much money we have left to spend, which is really helpful. Now, something I want to note really quick, which is really important, is how quickly this amount of money can get taken up in the budget. I mean, you saw all the different categories that we had that we didn't use in this. Things like doctor's visits, we don't have that in there. I mean, people have to go to the doctor. So I'm trying to make a point about how quickly this money can just disappear, especially because a lot of this money is going towards our auto loan and our credit card payment. We didn't even have student loans in here, and a lot of people have between $10,000 and $100,000 of student loans. So what can we do? We can raise our income and we can lower expenses. So let's look at how this would work in our budget. If we can change the amount that we put into certain categories for expenses and lower those, maybe be a little bit more sacrificial during the month, then we can put that money towards paying off our debt faster. So let's go through our budgeted expenses and see what kinds of things that we can change. We're gonna leave all of these categories: service and parts, electricity, internet. This $100 may include internet and cable. If you can cut the cable, let's drop, oh my gosh, Jack. Then maybe we'll drop it down to $60. That gives us a little more space in our budget. Now let's go down to mobile phones. Maybe we can drop that down to $80 if we don't need unlimited data. Keep going. Subscriptions. Maybe you can only get the Disney Plus subscription, which would be like $6 a month. Someone's gonna correct me. I don't remember if that's exactly what it is. Chocolate milk is a tough one. I've done this in the past videos. I'm gonna do it again. We're gonna say $5 is a little bit more reasonable for a monthly chocolate milk budget. Groceries, let's say we drop that down to $350. We create a plan before we go grocery shopping. We make a list instead of just grabbing the food that fits our fancy at that moment. When was the last time you heard someone say fits your fancy? Maybe we're a little bit more careful about our restaurants. We're gonna drop that down to $40. And we're gonna pretend like we don't need clothing. Not like no clothes. We need clothes, we just don't need any new clothes. So we're gonna say $0 budgeted for clothing. All right, now let's scroll up to the top. Now we can see that we have budgeted $3,916, which leaves us $184 remaining till we hit our $4,100 of income for the whole month. So we can take that $184 and put that towards something else, like our auto payment. Let's change that. So that means that we can change that to $754 per month. Now from this, we can see that we're adding an extra $184 onto our auto loan, which helps us pay it off a lot faster. And once we get the auto loan paid off, then we can take all that money that we were putting towards our auto loan, we can put it towards our credit cards, or if we have student loans, we can be putting it towards that, and it just snowballs. I made a video about the snowball method and the avalanche method, and if you're interested in that, you can check out this link up here. Now, the other thing I mentioned that you can do aside from lowering your expenses is increasing your income. So if you have a side job or a side hustle of some sort, maybe you can make an extra $100 per week, which would give us an extra $400 per month. Let's add this as a subcategory, and we'll say $400. Well, suddenly now you have $4,500 total of income. And if we go back to our expenses, we can add an extra $400 to some other payment. So you can put it towards your auto loan. Let's add it to this, why not? We'll make it $1,154. Now you're paying down that principal on your car loan, and you're gonna be paying less in interest, which is awesome. And that's our budget creation within Mint. Now overall, I wanna encourage you because budgeting can be a little intimidating, and I know that it's difficult for a lot of people, especially those who aren't numbers people, but that doesn't mean that you can't successfully manage your budget. The truth is, it's probably going to take you a little bit of time to really get used to budgeting. 90 days is a pretty good standard for how long it takes you to really hone in your budget and get used to the kinds of numbers that you should expect. But the important thing is just to start, because unfortunately it doesn't matter whether you're a numbers person or not, you have to follow the math. Personal finance is essentially just this big math problem where you have your income and your expenses equals your savings. And when your income is greater than your expenses, then you can be putting your savings towards other things that you want to save for, like vacation or a house or retirement. And I get it, it's hard. It's not always easy to be looking at your numbers, and a lot of times you feel kind of ashamed about the amounts that you're spending in certain categories. But like I say at the end of every video, you can control your money. It just takes practice and sometimes a little bit of help. So having said that, if you need help, just reach out in the comments and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have. And if you would be so kind, please give this video a like because it really helps my channel. I'm planning to do a video here pretty soon where I actually do a comparison between EveryDollar, YNAB, and Mint and kind of give my overview of what I think about each app, the strengths that I think each app has, and the weaknesses that they have. Because after setting up a first-time budget within each app, I realized that there are definitely some things that I like and don't like about each. So hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on that video. And remember, money doesn't have to be confusing. You can control it. All right, time to turn on the AC. Turn on. Why aren't you turning on? What? Oh, nice. There we go. Oh my gosh, that feels so good.